in the harsh winter of the American Southwest, a story unfolded that would reveal the vast difference between military might and indigenous knowledge. While 200 U.S. soldiers perished in the brutal cold, an Apache tribe not only survived, they thrived. The Apache people were not simply inhabitants of the Southwest, they were masters of it. For centuries, they had adapted to one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, where summer temperatures could exceed 110 degrees and winter nights could drop below freezing. Before European diseases arrived, the Apache were extraordinarily healthy. They traveled great distances regardless of weather conditions, hunting game, harvesting berries and cacti, moving through summer heat or freezing cold with remarkable endurance. Their territory ranged from the Rocky Mountains to the northern plains of the Colorado Plateau, south into Mexico. They lived in permanent villages, but constantly moved, hunting, farming, foraging, and conducting extensive buffalo hunts. So what did the Apache know that the soldiers didn't? The Apache crafted clothing from deerskin and other animal hides, layering them for maximum insulation. They understood that staying dry was as important as staying warm. Their moccasins were designed to keep feet protected in snow, often lined with grass or fur for additional warmth. The soldiers, in contrast, wore wool uniforms that became deadly when wet, offering little protection against the penetrating cold and fierce winds that could reach 110 miles per hour in the mountains. The Apache built wickiups, dome-shaped shelters made from wooden poles covered with brush, grass, and hides. These structures were engineered to shed snow and rain, trap heat from small fires inside, block wind from any direction, be quickly constructed and abandoned as needed. They also knew how to find natural shelters, caves, rock overhangs, and wind-protected canyons that provided crucial protection. The Apache were masters of fire. They knew which woods burned longest and hottest, how to protect fires from fierce winds using stone boxes and hypocausts, how to maintain fires through the night with minimal fuel, where to position fires for maximum heat reflection. Archaeological evidence shows they created elaborate underground fire boxes and heating systems that the military never considered. The Apache knew that surviving cold required proper fuel for the body. They consumed high-fat foods from animals they hunted, mescal, rich in carbohydrates and nutrients, stored nuts and dried meats, pine nuts and acorns prepared in advance. They also understood how to find water in winter, melting snow properly, and knowing where springs remained unfrozen. The U.S. soldiers faced numerous challenges that their training hadn't prepared them for. Many frontier army posts were closed during the Civil War, leaving remaining troops spread too thin across vast territories. The soldiers often wore inadequate clothing that trapped moisture, lacked proper shelter in the harsh conditions, had insufficient knowledge of the terrain, carried limited rations that didn't provide enough calories for the cold, were unfamiliar with survival techniques for extreme weather. Archaeological sites reveal bottles, buttons, coins, and cartridges scattered throughout old camps. Some horseshoe nails were fashioned into fishing hooks, showing that soldiers had to supplement their regulation fare through hunting and fishing, skills the Apache had perfected over generations. Many soldiers died from exposure, hypothermia, and malaria epidemics. The military had numbers and weapons, but they lacked the ancestral knowledge that made survival possible. Perhaps the Apache's greatest advantage was their mobility and intimate knowledge of the land. In 1885, approximately a dozen Apache warriors fled from a reservation and covered an estimated 1,200 miles on horseback in just 1 month, traveling through all types of weather and terrain. They knew every water source across hundreds of miles, which caves offered shelter, where game could be found in winter, how to travel efficiently in snow and ice, when to move and when to shelter. The soldiers, burdened with heavy equipment and unfamiliar with the territory, simply couldn't match this knowledge or mobility. This story of survival wasn't just about one winter or one group of soldiers. It was emblematic of a larger conflict, the Apache Wars, which lasted from 1849 to 1886, with minor hostilities continuing until 1924. At the height of the conflict, the U.S. Army deployed over 5,000 soldiers to track down Geronimo and just 30 of his followers. The Apache survival skills, combined with their guerrilla warfare tactics and knowledge of the terrain, made them nearly impossible to defeat through conventional military means. Leaders like Cochise once said, "I have killed 10 white men for every Indian slain." It wasn't superior firepower that eventually ended Apache resistance. It was the use of Apache scouts from other tribes, the destruction of their food sources, and forced relocation to reservations. The story of how the Apache survived while 200 soldiers perished isn't just a tale of physical endurance. It's a testament to the power of ancestral knowledge, deep connection to the land, and the ability to adapt that comes from centuries of living in harmony with, and in spite of, harsh environments. The Apache understood what many still fail to grasp today. Survival in extreme conditions isn't about fighting nature. It's about understanding and working with it. What the soldiers saw as an enemy to be conquered, the Apache knew as a home to be respected.